station, where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Desde Brooklyn hasta el sol del Medio Oriente, Rios-Flores con fuego en la mente. Raised in the Bronx where dreams don't sleep, donde el hambre te enseña a resistir. Section 8 life, no handouts, no cheat. He built his power from the pain on the street.
Cada golpe, cada lágrima caída fue el fuego que encendió su vida. Ahora camina con propósito y voz. Rios-Flores, hear the noise. De la calle al combate, turn his trials into faith. Con disciplina y con fe, now he rises every day. From the black to the world sin temor.
You ever need a haircut?
So that these kids can learn how to play instruments,
or want to, not just learn, but want to.
30 years deep,
But I think that
marching through war zones, never lost sight. Iraq to Korea, he led from the front. Now he lifts others, never just stunts. Hoy es mentor, líder, amigo.
Welcome to the Motivated Mindset. I'm your host, Jose Antonio Flores. I'm going to keep it simple. Proud Latino, born in New York City, straight out of the Bronx, raised in Brooklyn. That New York flavor, that hustle, that grit, that shaped me, built me, and still drive todo lo que yo hago. You know what I'm saying? And before we get started, I want to recognize that June is Pride Month. It's a time to celebrate authenticity, courage, resilience, and the freedom to live as your true self. No matter your background, your story, who you love, or the challenges you face, you deserve to be seen, respected, valued, and supported. Because at the end of the day, todos somos humanos. We're all human. Trying to navigate life, overcome obstacles, and find purpose and build meaningful connections. And that's what the Motivated Mindset is all about, mi gente. Now, before we get rolling, I want to send out a powerful salute, right, to all my veterans, service members, first responders, and everyone out there working every day, todos los días, to make their communities stronger. You know, mucho respeto. You already know. I'm also a combat veteran who probably served for 30 years in the United States Army. And in this new chapter of my life, I wear many cool hats other than this one. Guess what? I'm a motivational speaker, a certified personal trainer, certified mediator, and an end-of-life death doula. But here's the truth behind all those titles. I do what I do because I'm called to serve. Because I know what struggle feels like. Because I know what pain is like. Because I know what it means to fight for a purpose and help others find theirs. Every day, mi misión, my mission is simple: to inspire, to uplift, to challenge, to remind mi gente, people, that no matter where you start, no matter what you've been through, you can redefine your life through heart, discipline, faith, and relentless drive. That's why this podcast exists, mi gente. The Motivated Mindset is where we talk about resilience, culture, optimism, leadership, mental health, discipline, and the courage it takes to keep moving forward, mi gente, even when life swings hard, man. We keep it real here. NYC real, straight talk, Bronx humor, sugarcoating. We talk about things that many people are afraid to talk about: trauma, grief, loss, mental health, healing, and what it really takes to keep moving. You know, we never expected the things that happen to us in life. And as a combat veteran living with PTSD, I can tell you firsthand that healing isn't something that just happens once you're done. It is a lifelong journey, mi gente. It's learning to recognize your triggers. It's learning healthy ways to cope. It's understanding that strength isn't pretending you're okay when you're not freaking okay. All right. Strength is having the courage to say, mira, yo necesito ayuda. I need help. Strength is doing the work. Strength is showing up todos los días, every day, and choosing to move forward, even when the weight you're carrying feels heavy, man. I've experienced loss. I've experienced grief. I've experienced moments when life knocked me flat on my back. And I've learned that mental health is just as important as physical health, because, mi gente, if we're not taking care of what is happening between our ears and our inside, lo corazón, our heart, eventually it affects us in every aspect of our lives. That's why this conversation like today matters, because none of us were meant to carry burdens alone. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is remind someone that healing is possible, hope is real, and not all things, we can't do everything by ourselves, you know. And one last thing before we go, if you vibe, right? If you like what you're seeing, mi gente, if what we're talking about inspires you, if you appreciate the interviews, the energy, yay, what's up? And the message, all I ask that you support QRF right there, QR code on my YouTube, all the different platforms. You know why? Because you can share this with somebody who needs a little motivation. Your support helps me continue to bring powerful guests, meaningful conversations, and purpose-driven content straight to you. All right, familia, let's get into it. All right, check this out. All right, because we're going to talk about today's guest is someone whose life and work is dedicated to helping people navigate some of life's most difficult challenges with compassion, courage, and hope. Mi gente, Jessica Rios-Flores, what's up? I love the name. Is a trauma-informed psychotherapist. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there because she's also doing a book, right? The book right here. We're going to get right into it. What does it say? In case she gets it, Grief, Hope, and Baseball. She's an author, right? A death doula, right? She has so much to offer. And I can get deeper into it. You know what? We're going to bring her on because she's going to talk about it, because that's what life is about. Give me a moment and we're going to bring her in. Una, dos, tres.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Jessica, welcome again.
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, it's different. Oh my goodness, it's always a pleasure having you, and also talking to the best name in the world husband you got, Jose Flores. But you know, that's for another day. I love it. You know, and on purpose, I didn't say everything because I want people to have a little mystery of what all you do, because you do a lot, and I'm so proud of you so much. Before we get started, before we get to all those titles, let's hear about who Jessica is growing up, where you're from.
So my name is Jessica Rios-Flores, and this Jose Flores is not my husband. Funny story, my husband's name is Jose Flores, so is his dad.
Yes.
So I was born and raised in New York City. I am all over, from the Lower East Side, from Brooklyn, the Bronx. I am the owner of Woman Mix, a mental health practice serving women and the LGBTQ plus community in New York and Florida, helping them navigate grief and life transitions.
Mm-hmm. All right. And you know I grew up in the Bronx. What were some of the things that helped you be the person you are today? Who were some of your mentors and people that inspired you?
Ooh, I thought of, if you haven't noticed the shirt, I really miss everyone at Barrio, because today is the festival, tomorrow is the parade.
Yes.
So I would have to say who inspired me. Friends, family, community. You know, growing up and seeing in New York City during the time where there was drugs and violence around, what we had to lean towards what I leaned towards was hope. Yeah. Right? Where did I find that? I found that, for example, in 6th Street Community Center, where we played with the PAL staff in the summertime. I don't know, Jose, you remember PAL?
Yes, I do.
And those are the days. But having people see us for who we were really made a difference for me. And that's why now my mission in life is to continue to serve others.
Yes. And you know, what values did your family instill in you to continue to guide you in your work in your life as you were coming up?
Integrity, going, never giving up. It's also what I seen, right? It's what I wanted in life. School was a huge outlet for me also, because it's what I was able to control, as well as baseball when I was a teenager, but we'll get into that. Fun.
Yes, we will.
So yeah, growing up, I needed structure, and I got that when I was in school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I know. Like I said, I remember when you said PAL, and I also remember the Armory, and your Armory was in this book. Oh my God, because I used to run, you know, a track there. So it just, when you just said PAL, oh yeah, that was another one. Yeah, well, I remember them days. You know, And as you were growing up, what guided you to like trauma and start helping people? What was your experience to say, someone needs to how did that come about?
So when I was a teenager, I knew I wanted to become a social worker. I knew I wanted to help people. I started volunteering for the Department for the Aging. And I remember in the Lower East Side, I would visit this viejita, and we would talk about everything, about life and living and death also, because part of death is also living.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, you got somebody that says, she said, by Johnson 120, she is wonderful. I'm from the Bronx, and her book hits close to my heart. I agree with you. It does. It does. I read it. I absolutely read it. It was beautiful, one of the things, when people, many people hear the word grief and immediately think about death, but grief can come in many different experiences. How would you define grief in your experience, Jessica?
Oh, there's so many different types of grief, and it's not just losing a person to death. It could be the loss of identity. It could be the loss of a dream. And we also talk about pride, right? I love that June is Pride Month, and
yes,
that you invited me to talk about it. I personally celebrate it all year long. I feel like everyone should be accepted for who they are, right? There's also what's called disenfranchised grief. And that's when grief is not supported. You can't socially mourn it, and a lot of the LGBTQ plus community, they fought to move from that.
Yes. No, absolutely. I remember when I first joined the Army early, they had the no ask, don't tell, and people had to keep that. You couldn't come up to say anything or you would be kicked out, and for anybody that's listening for the LGBT community, what is out there for help, assistance? What can they do, if somebody's going through something?
Yeah, there's so many resources out there. If you go to the Gay Center online, I think it's called www.gaycenter.com, if I'm not mistaken. There's so many resources. There's also the Trevor Project.
Okay.
The Trevor Project. If you have health insurance, call your health insurance carrier. You also want to find a therapist who is affirming.
Okay.
Right? Who's understanding of your experience as well.
Wow, no, that's cool. Well, you got a lot of people. Somebody says here from Admarie, Caitlin says, "Love you, Jessica."
I love you.
That is stupendous. That is stupendous. And as a trauma-informed psychotherapist, what are some signs that someone may be carrying unresolved trauma without even realizing it?
I talked about this a little bit in the book. It's also could be where you could look productive, right? Show up at work and not show others that you are going through grief, right? Some other signs are also isolating yourself from others. That's a big one. Maybe exhibiting anger in ways that are not healthy, maybe drinking too much, unhealthy patterns.
No, I can relate to that. When we talk about veterans and suicide, a lot of those same things, the isolation, the self-medication is really big. When we talk about 22 is the number for veterans that we lose a day, that is really, really deep, because I think, so we live in a society that often tells people to move on quickly after loss. Why can that mindset be harmful?
Super harmful, because you don't get over a loss. You learn how to live without it, right? You grow around it, but you don't ever get over it. It's learning the tools to keep going in life. And that's why I've always held on to hope, right? There was this loud belief in me that things had to get better, right? They don't look good right now, but maybe the pain won't be so loud.
Yes, no, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And we have so much pain going on, especially during these times with everything that's happening. We got another one here. Let me put it back. Let me put it up. Somebody says, ask us, can't say, she's an absolute wonderful human being. I encourage everyone to purchase the book. I agree. Right here, people, right here. This is it. I finished it. Yes. And Velasquez says, this is so good. Jessica is a voice needed in this world. Absolutely. You know. And then somebody else said, everything happens for a reason. I agree with that. You may not understand it at the time when it's happening to you.
Yeah,
you know?
and we talk about veterans who died by suicide, and the numbers are just horrific to me. But there's also that fear of judgment for asking for help.
Yes.
And I just want to remind everyone that you don't know if things are going to be fine. Every season is different, right? But you're still here. There's a lot of resources out there.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I don't mind sharing, you know, I have attempted suicide on my own, you know, before, you know, whatever happened. Once there was a point where I say, hey, I need some help. And like I said before, asking for help is not weakness. You know, we've talked about that, you know. And Jessica, so what does healthy grieving actually look like? You know, like, as someone who lives with PTSD, I've learned that healing isn't linear. Do you believe healing ever truly ends?
Well, Jose, thank you for sharing your story also, because it helps other people to keep going. No, grief isn't linear. You hear there are different modalities, there are different stages of grief. And it all varies. Maybe today you're going to feel depressed, and tomorrow there's like a little bit of hope and acceptance. And to me, acceptance is not accepting that the person passed away, or that the life that you dreamed of isn't happening. It's more of accepting the feelings that come with it. Like when my father died, there was a sense of relief for me. And I know that some people thought that maybe I shouldn't feel that way, but it's accepting, no, I still feel that way. It's okay. You're going through.
Yes, no, absolutely. You know, and what would you say to someone listening right now who feels overwhelmed by loss and doesn't know where to begin?
I would say to reach out to a loved one, a friend, a doctor, right? The first step is also sitting with your feelings. And that's a big one, Jose, you know, as a death doula also.
Yeah.
Sit with it, express yourself, let it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're home alone, if you want to yell if you can, right?
Yeah.
Accept those emotions.
No, absolutely. You have another comment here. It says, Jessica book lets you know that your circumstances in childhood or any other time is the end, you know. Did you want to address that question so people who didn't see your book yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up, I witnessed substance abuse, domestic violence around, and I didn't let that dictate where I was going in life. Mm-hmm. I leaned on friends. I went to therapy for years. I love therapy. I'm still in therapy, right? But it doesn't define who you are or where you're going. Yeah,
no, absolutely. That is so true. You know, especially, you know, when you and I grew up, well, maybe me. Oh, we didn't even have cell phones. I know, I'm aging myself. You know what was the cell phone? Was when I was in the room with the landline. As long as that cord was, you were like,
yes, the curly one. I had that.
and now, you know, my grandkids, they have the world in the palm of their hands, and you know, which you know, it brings me to the question about, you know, social media offers encourage people to present a perfect version of themselves. You know, how does that impact mental health and authentic healing?
Mm-hmm. I encourage everyone to take breaks from social media whenever they can, because it can be so toxic, right? Like, yes, people want to put up the most colorful pictures of their lives on social media, and then you start to think, this is how I'm supposed to be living.
Yeah.
And that comparison game is not going to help.
No,
because of technology, thankfully, everything is easier for us to get to, right? Like if you are in crisis, of course, call 911, but there's a suicide crisis line, 988, that you can also reach out to.
No, absolutely. Wow. And I know we touched a little bit about it when we talked about the LGBTQ plus, about and why is creating a safe and affirming spaces for people so important?
I believe in inclusivity, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jose, you're older than me, so I'm sure you remember the Stonewall riots,
Yes,
right?
yes, I do.
And the community members, they were the catalyst for Pride celebrations, right? Like they wanted to be seen, they wanted to be accepted, and they fought for so many years, and we're still doing that to this day.
Mm-hmm. No, I say, be careful who you hate. It might be someone you love.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
And it's like, and it happens in family. When my kids were growing up, I said, just be honest with me. I don't care who you love. It doesn't matter to me. Just be straight up honest with me. Let me know what's going on, and I'll accept you for who you are.
And that's
so-
amazing, because a lot of people don't get that, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the LGBTQ plus community and you're grieving your maybe biological family
Mhm.
because they don't accept you. So now you have this maybe beautiful, supportive, chosen family, but there's still the grief of, dang, I wish my dad really accepted me fully for who I am.
Yeah. And I'm going to only speak, and especially in the Latino community, when I was growing up, I only speak from my side. I can't speak for all Latinos, just what I experienced. It was taboo. Mental health was taboo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We've come so far from the 80s. I think about the crisis with the AIDS pandemic as well. Right.
No,
and now we have so many affirming providers.
Yes. Somebody, LinkedIn user, look, remember this? It says, somebody put, let me see, show. It says, coins for public phones or calling cards. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh.
I do remember that.
Oh my goodness. And Magdalia, a good friend of mine, she said, we thought we had it made when we finally got a beeper.
I miss the beepers. There's too much easy access now.
Back when it first came out, the only people who had it were like drug dealers. They had a beeper, and then you still had to go to a phone and put coins in and call, right? And we have another question, another comment. Say, my older sisters are members of the LGBTQ plus community, and I remember how my father treated them horribly. When he got older, he smartened up, but because of that, I made sure I included everyone.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that more often. Thanks for sharing, Magdalia. With the older generation also, there's so much education around inclusivity, and they're becoming more accepting.
Yes, no, absolutely. And when we talk about what Sadie said, how can allies better support their LGBTQ plus friends, family members, and colleagues? What advice could you give, or suggestions that, for anybody out there?
Even for someone grieving, this simple question of how can I support you?
Yeah,
right? Listen.
Yes.
Listen to their needs.
Yes, absolutely. So, and we'll come back to that. But you know what? I really, because I loved your book, and let's talk about your book, Grief, Hope, and Baseball. And what inspired you to write it?
It was 2020. I remember sitting across from many clients in therapy who were going through grief, and it was something that they were ashamed of. And I needed them to know that they weren't alone in it. And honestly, I think I needed to know that for myself as well. Like, now that the book is published, people are sharing their stories and how they can relate to it as well.
That is, and of course, I think you're a Yankees fan. Is that what I'm hearing?
Of course, and also Knicks in 5.
Yes, absolutely. No, absolutely. And I have to ask, because I know when I read the book, was there a chapter or essay that was especially, difficult for you to write?
They were all pretty difficult for me to write, just because I'm going back to old memories and the feelings are coming back again. Sometimes they felt raw, there was one in particular where I'm sitting in the car with my dad in his little red car, which actually speaks volumes, especially with this weekend with the Puerto Rican pride. He had his little Puerto Rican flag hanging. Yeah. That one was difficult because he was a substance abuser for several years, and I pushed him away when he was using because it just was too hard to see him wither away right in front of me. And his last year of life, he was in sobriety, and we sat in that car and we talked about forgiveness and love, moving forward, baseball, because baseball was what connected my father and I, and it was a welcome distraction.
Wow. No, yeah. I read everything, you know. I remember when and we talked about it, your abuela, your grandmother, and those memories. Oh my goodness, I was just reading that. I was like,
yeah. So Jose, you cannot call her abuela. She's mamita or mami.
Mamita, that's right. I'm sorry, girl. Me and my Spanglish. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Yeah. I apologize for that. Oh my God.
She would get a kick out of that. But mamita was, and abuela, they just provided so much structure for me when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and it's exactly what I needed during that time.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, absolutely. And you know, when you think of your life's work, you know, what impact do you hope to leave behind?
I want people to know that they're not alone in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I've served hundreds of women and LGBTQ plus community. Mm-hmm. And what stands out for me the most is, again, being a community, not leaving anyone behind. And that's why I also have an elephant as my logo. Right? So they're known to be strong, have wisdom, and have deep roots in community.
Okay. Oh, and we got somebody that says, "Oh, you look, my girl." She says, "New York all the way."
Right.
Got that right. I'm a little partial. And one link in you to say yes, you know, when we talk about that. And what I want to do, Jessica, is, and we're going to keep talking. I want to show people how they can get in contact with you, and we'll keep answering questions. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any more questions, please put them, and we're gonna continue. So we'll go through this, and you just tell me next, and we'll keep moving. There's the elephants.
There are my elephants. Yep. Again, no one gets left behind. We're in this together. Mm-hmm. No one is alone.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And
education and certification and fun facts.
Yeah, so I've earned my bachelor's of arts in social work and also my master's in social work. I knew this is where I was going. All in New York City from Lehman College, Fordham University. I also have my SIFI, which just means that I supervise social work interns as well. I think it's so important to mentor the next generation.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Also certified mindfulness instructor, grief educator, and also a death doula, because it's so important to sit with people, especially in their last days, hours. Fun facts. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen this in a while. So yeah, I ran 3 marathons. I love that picture because it's, again, my pride, Puerto Rican pride. Right? I traveled as far as London to watch the Yankees play.
Wow. Okay. That's a fan.
Very much.
Mm-hmm.
Love wings and tacos. I love dancing, but I have no rhythm.
But you got karaoke. You can do karaoke, girl. I know you can.
I'm terrible at it too, but I do it and have fun.
Okay. All right. I'll go to the next slide. All right.
Yes. So these are just some of the areas that I help empower my clients, whether it's grief and loss. And again, that's different. It doesn't mean the loss of a loved one, or it can. Personal growth, self-esteem, trauma, a lot of unresolved childhood trauma also comes up in our work, even if you come for therapy regarding grief. blended family issues, life transitions, anxiety, and I'm licensed in New York and Florida.
Okay.
Only seeing adults.
Yes, got you. And I want to make sure I put this up too. Best way to get a hold as we move forward. Okay.
Frequently asked questions. So I provide therapy, again, only for those in New York and Florida. If you go on my website, www.jessicarios-Flores, you'll see what insurances I take. I also take out of pockets. I do not prescribe medication. I do not see children, so it's 18 and over, but I can provide with referrals and resources if you need anything. So don't be afraid to email me.
Cool.
And all services are completely virtual.
Okay, cool. All right. Testimonials. Oh, yeah.
Say I don't have my glasses with me.
Oh my goodness, wait a minute. Okay, so I can read it. It says, testimonial. Jessica was a blessing I needed during one of the most difficult times in my life. Through working with her, I was able to properly grieve my mother, and develop coping skills for when the grief is intense. Needless to say, I would highly recommend her. Saina E. I can't say that name because Puerto Rican accent. And the other one is being the first person in my family to seek therapy was a bit overwhelming at first. The process of finding the right therapist for me took quite a while. Once I began my session with Jessica, I realized how important it is not only to seek therapy, but to find the right therapist for you. I can easily say that at the end of the day, once my session with Jessica began, the long search was worth it. Thank you for being very easy to talk to and for being patient. Highly recommend Woman Mean Community, Anna Leon.
So I also thank you for reading that. I encourage everyone to shop for a therapist like they would shop for running sneakers. It has to be the right fit, or shoes, whatever you prefer. There's www.latinxtherapy.com, where you can also search for therapists, or psychology.com, psychologytoday.com.
And before we go to, I want to get a question in, and it said, grief is a stone you carry with you. Some days it's heavier than others.
Oh, absolutely, Migdalia. There are some days where I am just fine and productive, and other days where it just hits you like a hard wave.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll take another question after the next slide. And like an elephant, we preserve.
Yep, there we go. So again, my elephants are because they represent wisdom, strength, deep roots, and community.
Cool beans. Okay. Oh, hey.
Yay. So this is where you can find my book, Grief, Hope, Baseball. It's a collection of essays on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Strand. And if you love the book, please go and leave a review. Also, it's super important.
And before we go to the next one, we'll take a question. And the question is from John. It says, I didn't know how much I was pushing down and leaving everything happens for a reason until I've read Grief, Hope, Baseball. Jessica, that's what she said.
Oh, thank you for reading it. And yes, I think a lot of us, especially in Latino communities, are taught to be strong. You're taught to be there for everyone else, and you set yourself to the side.
Yeah.
And it's important to put yourself first. Like when you're in an airplane, they tell you to put the oxygen mask on first. You got to take care of yourself in order to serve others.
Absolutely. All right. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's a QR code also there, different ways to say it. So it does work. So I'll keep it there for a couple of seconds, but of course you'll be able to watch it. And then Ms. Johnson said, thank you, Jessica, for being you. You are amazing.
Thank you. You guys rock.
That is stupendous. And now we got this next slide.
Yes. So I almost want to promote you, Jose. So I also provide grief and life transition support. And as a Death Doula, I was trained to not only sit with clients who are passing or their family members, but also to help you figure out what paperwork is it that you need and not wait until the very last minute and feeling scattered, or a lot of times there are fights after the person is gone because the paperwork wasn't put in order.
Absolutely. And I think we talked earlier when we go through life transition. I'll never forget when I was getting ready to retire from the military, and I was lost like last year's Easter eggs, girl. Mentally, I know you can use that. It's not copyrighted, but it was a big life transition, and it was like, wow, what am I gonna do? What am I capable of? And it caused so much angst, so much. But back then, I didn't know how to handle it. This is what I did, and I told you, I self-medicated. I drank. I did behavior that was not good for me, and I kept that all inside, So going through someone with your credentials, your professional, would help somebody like me if I gotten out and say, hey, I need some help. And again, a lot of that stuff when I was in the Army, you got to be strong. You got to, what we call it, embrace the suck. That's what they would say.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. Yes. Whenever, and embrace the suck. Yeah, this sucks. You got to embrace it. And then after so many 30 years, I adapted that. No matter what I was going through, you put all that stuff aside. So, having something like this would have helped me tremendously avoid so much grief that I went through. We'll go to the next slide. The dugout.
I also provide clinical supervision for other social workers, whether they're in private practice or even working with other organizations. Again, I think it's super important for us to have the support that we need as service providers to be able to show up with our clients.
No, absolutely. We'll go to the next one. And my goal for you.
Oh, I haven't seen this in so long, and it's my website.
I got you, girl. You need me to read something?
No, that's okay. You'll leave sessions clearer, kinder to yourself, and more grounded in ethics and skills. And that's for the clinical supervision. And we talked about values, right? Here it says we'll trade imposter syndrome for integrity, curiosity, and steady growth.
And one of the things I loved about your website, it was user-friendly. It was easy to read. Everything was exactly where I needed it, Jessica.
That's helpful to hear. I
Yeah.
hope so.
And someone like me from New York, because I got issues, but we'll talk about that later. Being able to look at that stuff and say, yeah, this was easy to navigate, especially when I went to the FAQs, I said, oh, gotcha. Yeah, that was a question that I did ask,
That's my goal. Mm-hmm. I am also writing. This is my wellness blog. I wrote this book within 2 years. It was a long 2 years, but felt like a long 2 years. And I didn't realize a month after the launch how much I missed writing. So I'm going to start writing again.
Okay.
So look out for more if you haven't joined my subscription as well. But I haven't joined from Greece. You did.
Yeah.
Baseball for entrepreneurs, business owners. It's all there.
Okay. Cool beans. And then we have who you support, what you support. And I think that was very important, and you talked about early career clinicians and your supervision style. So I thought that was pretty good, so. And let's take on a question. Well, I think it's more of a comment. And it said, Jess talks the talk, but walks the walk with people. Everyone needs grief, hope, and baseball. Love you, Jess. Jose, thank you for the platform. Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, it's cool.
I love you. I think the important part also is I want people to feel less alone in their grief, or just in general. Right? There were times where I felt alone, where I felt like I had to keep it together, and inside I was just shattered. And so having people there, whether it was cousins, the center,
wow,
it gives me so much more hope.
Absolutely. And having someone like you with your experience really helps to guide people, because sometimes people don't know where to go. I remember when I couldn't emotionally stand, but I couldn't emotionally sit, and I was caught in this in-between place, and just like, that, what is it, that flight freeze, what's that?
Flight bond. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that. I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I said, well, let me drink some more, knowing that I do.
And that's okay. Like, we've all gone through it, right? And that's the thing with therapy also, is we meet you where you're at. There's no judgment. We sit with you. We navigate that roller coaster of emotions you're going through and help you cope.
Yeah, absolutely. What are these?
So my self-healing journal, that was actually my first publication to make it to the Library of Congress. I'm not showing off. I'm just very happy as an avid reader. And right now the paperback is not available, but the ebook is. And part of the proceeds for each sale goes to a domestic violence shelter.
Oh, okay. So what would if I were to order this, what kind of things would I see? You know, how would that help me as I open the book, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's self-guided. So there are a lot of questions. There are tools that you can use on a daily basis, depending on the topic of the book. Super helpful.
Cool beans. You know, when you said domestic violence, you ever heard of Walk a Mile in Her Shoes?
No.
Oh my goodness. So check this out. I should have had the picture. I didn't know you were going to say that. So this is where men walk in high heel shoes for a mile. But prior to that, you're on a fundraiser, raising money for domestic violence, you know? And the first time so the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes organization makes shoes for men. And you just put on the shoes. You don't dress any, it's just shoes. You don't have to dress like a female. So the first year, Jessica, ladies and gentlemen, I must have got like 20 blisters. I said, oh my God, this is so hard. But let me tell you something, mi gente. By the second year, I was walking it. I was like, too sexy for my shirt. Okay, you know that song, right? And I knew where to put the freaking tape and everything. And they were cherry red, girl. Cherry red.
Cherry red.
Loved it. And so many organizations support that Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. And it's held throughout all over the United States. If you get an opportunity, check it out. It's called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, and you raise money and the money goes there.
Oh, I definitely will. When I was working in a domestic violence shelter, actually where the proceeds are going to, during that time, there was also a woman, Gladys Ricard, may she rest in peace. She was murdered by her husband, her ex, actually, on the day of her wedding. She had her wedding dress on, and he came, and it was really unfortunate. So every year in September, they have a walk for her, and all the women wear wedding dresses, and they're donated to raise awareness on domestic violence.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That is so important on that. And how to connect with you. Yes.
So you can fill out this form on my website, or feel free to email me at info@womanmixcommunity.com.
And I know, and that's also a good email too. That one right there, Jessica.
Yes, and if I can help you directly, I will find some resources for you as well.
Cool beans. And and you also of course you do males too, right? Or is it just females now?
So right now it's just females.
Okay. And for the men that are listening, because this is so important, how can they support the women in their lives, sisters, spouses, when it comes to grief and so on? What can they do?
Don't shame them. Let them feel their emotions. Listen to them. Provide support. Again, I go back to asking that question, how can I support you?
Yes. Absolutely. Cool beans. You listening, men? All right now.
Don't be jerks.
That's right. Call me. Hi. And other ways that you can connect with Jessica.
Yes. So also on Instagram, the handle is Jessica Rios LCSW. Is that what you call it? The handle? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's the handle.
And Woman Mix also has a page at Woman Mix Community.
And when you go on the Instagram or the other ones, it'll lead you to all the other social media that you got. So you can use that QR code, and I was stalking and said, that's pretty good stuff. Oh, I like that. That's awesome, And of course, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes.
You can reach out to there and put in different stuff. And then a LinkedIn user said, we all need Jessica in our lives, girl.
Oh, thank you.
That is stupendous. That is, So I have a question. So what gives you hope right now, based on your experience, what you're seeing, the trend?
I'm still here. I'm still here is a big one. I think about pride, and we talked about the community members from the Stonewall riot, and they've been doing this for years. They've been fighting to be seen, to be heard, to be accepted. And as an activist, that's what I'm going to continue doing. And I see my nieces and nephews. I have 20-something nieces and nephews, and I love them. And that's what keeps me going.
Wow. So when we talk about your book, who should read your book? Who is this book made for?
I'm going to start off with who it's not made for.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
Actually, you don't have to know the ins and outs of baseball. You don't even have to like sports, despite the title, right? Grief is inevitable. I always say hope is an option. Right? That's what keeps me going. And for me, baseball held both. And maybe for you, it could be something else. So it's anyone who wants to be seen, who wants to know, okay, someone else went through the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. Like I said on Monday, it's not about baseball. It really isn't. It's about life.
It's about life and living. Yes.
And a lot of the things that you have mentioned, it took me back. I was reading, like we had talked about earlier, and it really is something else. As many years as I've known you, it was just good to know some of that stuff. I appreciate it so much for you sharing that. And Jessica, here on the Motivated Mindset, we believe people can redefine their lives no matter what they've been through. If you could leave our audience with one message about healing, hope, and the power of human spirit, what would that be?
So shame grows in silence.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to reach out for help. I want you to own your story. Keep going. You're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So despite what's happening this season, there's always a next season. There's always another time for you to pick yourself up. Keep going.
Yes. No, absolutely. Oh, we got a question. There's somebody on LinkedIn used to say, curious to know, what would you tell your younger self?
Ooh. Be bold. You're going to be fine, but be bold.
Okay. Be bold. All right. That's, I've had to think about that question when somebody asked me, and I would say to hang in there. I would tell myself when I had hair, I said, "Oh, you look good," but we won't get into that. I would say something like, "Hey, just hang in there. It's gonna get better," because I know that a lot of the things that I did for Jose, made me the person I am today too.
Yes.
Those decisions that I made, as hard as they were and painful, but it's what you do when you grow through it. You go through these things in life, So I would just say, hey, hang in there. It's gonna get better. Be bold. Absolutely. And somebody says Super Derp 1399 says a heart, sends you a heart. That's that is beautiful. and Jessica, is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to talk about that's important to you that you want people to know?
Yeah, there's always a path forward, right? It may seem dark. You're going to get through that. And I'm not the type of person to go around and talk about toxic positivity. No, grief is messy. Life can get shitty. Sorry, could I say
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And it's hard, but you can pull yourself up. And a lot of times we need help. We need a community.
Absolutely.
And be proud, be loud, be bold, be yourself.
Yeah.
As long as you're safe.
Absolutely. No, that's really good advice to take, regardless of what age you're on. And, it took so long, I know, for me to break that stigma of growing up in a Latino environment and all those things. But what the Army did for me is open up so many things, meeting different people. Let's put it that way. So I and I'm still learning, even at my age of 21. But
we're also learning, right? You talk about we're learning, we're healing. I don't believe in the word healed.
Yeah.
Like we're all healing every day.
And I do have a question, maybe if you can answer it. What did COVID do when it comes to mental health during that time period? I don't know if you got anything. Was that, I know there was a lot of issues there.
Oof, a lot of issues, yes. So funny, to say the least, right? There was just so much going on with, politically, the police brutality, racism. There was just so much going on during that time. The pandemic, of course. That was actually the year that my husband and I decided to move down to Florida. Oh, New York was getting so expensive. Also. But that was also the year that I saw people coming together. That's when I expanded my private practice to full time. Thankfully, I have no regrets. But I noticed that everyone was seeking community.
Okay.
And that's so important for healing.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. And we got questions coming in, and a LinkedIn user says, Jessica, would you do anything different in your life?
No. I think I've learned from, I guess hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
Right? So I learned from it all. Maybe if I'm being honest, is being more open to learning more about substance abuse when my father was alive.
Got it. Okay.
And how it is a disease.
Okay. We have another question from Super Derp. Do you know what the new book's focus will be about? Oh, we got a new book. Okay.
No pressure.
You gotta let us in. What's up?
I will let you know as soon as that pops up. Their ideas, nothing concrete. I love it.
Okay, so Jessica, here we go right here. So when you get ready to launch, please let us know. Bring you back so we can talk about it.
Absolutely. So talk about being bold. I've only been on 2 podcasts, and they were both with you. So of course I'm going to come back.
I feel special. No, that's so big. When you and if you got any upcoming expos, anything coming up, please let us know so we can push it down in Florida. We have another question, definitely, from Christina. Yeah. Hi, Jess. If readers remember just one message after finishing the book, what would you want it to be? Love you.
I love you too. It would be that there's always another at bat. You're still here. There's always another chance to keep going, to find joy through the midst of it all.
That is stupendous. No, absolutely. Jessica, I want to say thank you for being you, for the love you give, the compassion, empathy to everybody, and in the good work that you're doing. It makes a difference.
Thank you so much, Jose, for having me here. I feel like we were all put on this earth for a reason, and mine is to serve others. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And then root for our teams, right? The Yankees.
Oh, wait, what team is that? Who is it? Okay.
The Yankees, Knicks, and 5.
Oh. That's what I'm talking about. And that's tonight, I hear, right? Tonight?
Yes, I have to cook right after this.
Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna try to get you off. But wait, Jessica, before you get off, let me just talk real quick about our next upcoming guest. And this guy, his name is next week. Our guest is Alexander Chaparro, an executive coach, business transformational strategist, and author dedicated to helping leaders and high achievers break through limiting beliefs and achieve meaningful results. So, so make sure that, you tune in next week to check them out, But I want to say, Jessica, gracias, mucho amor. I love you with all my heart. And of course, your husband, who's so super. Jose Flores. Yeah, that's right.
We won't tell him.
No, we won't tell him.
I love you. Thank you so much for having me.
Always. Gracias. And keep doing you. We need people like you in this world to make a difference. And that's exactly what we need. And if there's anything we can do, just let us know. There's no other questions. And my audience members, thank you very much for being here and providing the support to Jessica and all your kudos and questions, what you got on the next? What's up? Oh my God. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Jessica, gracias por todo tu amor. You know, let's keep helping each other and providing love and humanity until we meet again. Gracias. And it'll be in July.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.